Hello and welcome back to Blake's Den, and this is another video on my Austin Mini Designer, Project Designer as I call it, which is a 1989 special edition. And in this video I'm going to be putting the rear hubs on and the rear drum brakes. The first job I want to do is to get the old manky handbrake cable off and get that replaced. It's still currently attached to the brake, which connects back to the actual handbrake mechanism, so I need to get it removed from there first and then the new cable fitted. Just to make things easier, I've withdrawn the whole handbrake assembly from the car, so there's a threaded rod portion which connects to the actual brake, and then you can see here there's like not a spring washer, but like one of those fancy washers which holds it all in place. So I need to pop that off, and then I should be able to then withdraw this bit, which will then allow me to withdraw the other bit, because obviously you can't get it free because you've got springs and end fittings on and everything like that. Plus this will need cleaning up anyway, so I'm going to try and pop this washer off, and then I'll bring you back and I'll get this all cleaned up. Thought it was easier to put it in the vise, but I've popped that off now. And I'm just going to give it a bit of a coating of WD-40, and then I should, with a bit of wiggling, be able to get this whole assembly apart. As soon as I press stop, the thing came loose. There we are. That's the front handbrake cable. I'll probably end up renewing that, but I know I haven't got one spare at the moment. This is the rear cable. It's a bit very worn there, but probably do as an emergency spare. And that's the equalising plate. So I'm going to hit that with a wire brush, clean that up, and then we can think about reassembly. Just hit that with a wire wheel and cleans it up a bit. I haven't gone mad with it, so I know it's got to come off again when I paint the floor. And I know I need to replace this cable, but for now, it'll go back together. And I've got a new cable. I guess you could call it new old stock. It came with the car, and I've had the car 8 years now. So I'll reassemble this and we'll put it back on the car. Back out the Mini rear subframe. So there's a small hole down there where the handbrake cable comes through. It's quite difficult to thread through. You've sort of got to hammer it through, and obviously it's squeezed the clevis. Sometimes it's easier if you put a bit of string on the end and feed it through, but I didn't do it this time. And then you can see when you get round here, you got the quadrant, and then that needs to go in the quadrant, and then the quadrant needs to get pinched down. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to slap a load of grease on that, and then I can pull this round and just tuck it out the way, and then I can get the backing plate on and get that all attached up. New M8 fasteners. I think he uses some weird imperial size, but I'm not going to use that. And then that handbrake bracket goes on the back like that, and then the cable slots into the slot there. Very hard to show with one hand. And with those bolts in, I can then put my backing plate on, which I pre-assembled earlier in a previous video. I'll put the link up above for that. Need to get a bolt in at the top there, but then yeah, I can put some new fasteners on that. Probably should put I think I should probably put the bolt head on the inside rather than the nut. Might be difficult to get that in. Don't think it makes a massive difference, but yeah, I'll get that assembled now and get that all tightened up, and then I can get the drum on. That's all torqued up now, 28 Newton meters as per the Haynes, which is not a lot. Nylock nuts, washers either side. It's not going anywhere. I did flip the spring around. I think I had it the wrong way around previously. So it should sit a bit lower so you can clear that bolt. So that's fine. So before I put the hub on, I think I will plumb up this pipe behind, the brake pipe behind, into the slave cylinder down here. So this brake line needs to come all the way around and go into here, which is the slave cylinder. It needs to go so front side of this, because that's the shock absorber mounting. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to gently bend it. It's quite pliable. I may have to reshape this in the future, because what I don't want it to do is to foul on the subframe at maximum travel. But that's roughly where I want it. So if I can start then just nipping that up, and then, yeah, I don't think that's too bad. I think I just need to sort of move it around a bit like that. And I think a bit more clearance to the shock absorber, and I think that'll do. So, right, we'll get those nipped up. That's plumbed up now, and I'm happy with that. Next job is to put the hub on. Now, I did rebuild the hub in a separate video. Again, I'll post the link to that. New bearings in it, and I've just put a cable tie around it to stop the bearings from falling out. You can see they're already pre-greased, so I'll snip the cable tie, whack that on, and we'll get the big castellated nut done up. And there's a story there. This rear hub nut gets torqued up to 80 Newton meters. But what you need to do is you obviously need to remember which side of the car you're working on. So I'm working on the off side, so the driver's side. So the nut tightens right-handed like a normal nut. On the other side, it's left-handed. But what the story was, years ago, and I'm talking about 14 years ago, I changed the wheel bearings on my Mini MPI, and I think I misread the hub nut settings, and I'm sure I did it, the rear ones to the front settings, which is like 250 Newton meters or something ridiculous. What you've actually got to do, you torque it like that, and then you've got to turn it a little bit more so you can get to the point where you can get the split pin through. So you've got a big split pin and there's a hole there, so you need to go a bit further. I've done that, and I must have done, well, I haven't done many miles, 14,000 miles, and it's been absolutely fine. So even though I've massively over tightened the rear bearings, it's been fine. Put the split pin on there, and I realised I've made a mistake. I've not ordered any more dust caps. I thought I had. These ones have got big holes in, so they don't really do much. For now, I'm just going to put them on, and I'll only put them on lightly, and I'll change them at another time. Also as well, I've got the drum to go on, which I've painted in heatproof black. And what I've not got for the drum either is the little screws, which when that goes on, needs a bit of a hit. Screws which go through here, which retain the drum. To be honest, you don't really need those, because once your wheel's on, the drum is retained anyway. But I might have a raid through my stash and see if I've got them. If I need to do a spares order for the dust caps, I might as well just buy them. They'll be pennies anyway. And there we go, back together. Obviously I can put the wheel on now if I wanted to. Two things I've not done. One, I've not bled the brakes. That's deliberate, because I'm probably going to replace the pipe which runs the length of the body. And two, I've not adjusted this drum yet. I'll probably do that once the wheel's on, just so you can get a bit more feel. So right, I just need to do the exact same thing now on the other side. So that needs to be done, so wish me luck. And there you go, the other side all done. Pretty uneventful, other than I was looking on the floor and I found the screw which goes in to hold the drum on. It's a bit mangled, so I'm going to get a new one anyway. But considering I took the drums off about here, because I had the whole subframe off with everything, I don't know how the screws got over there, whether I've just kicked it or what, I'm not sure, but because it was about 2 years ago I did that as well. Pretty amazing. One thing I forgot to do is there's a little guide here on the subframe that the handbrake cable needs to go into. So I need to get that in there. It's almost like I've not got enough length. So what I'm going to have to do, I'm going to have to loosen it off at the front, and then I'll be able to pull it through and tighten it up. So I've got that in now. The plate here is well greased. One thing I had to do was I had to put axle stands underneath each brake assembly. Obviously the whole thing swings through an arc, and it basically wanted to pull the cable too tight. So by slackening it off, I was able to do that. And the ironic thing is, I'm going to have to do it all again because I'm going to have to replace that front handbrake cable. But I say I'm going to do that. I need to paint the whole floor anyway. But what I'll probably do, and here's a bit of a top tip, I'll probably buy 2 of those handbrake cables. And you think, why? Why do you need 2? Well, it's always good to have a spare. Same with the dust covers for the rear hub bearings. I'll buy a couple of them because, well, I've got another Mini in here. I have actually replaced the handbrake cable on this before. But it's always useful having a spare. If you're paying postage as well, you know, it's only a couple of quid, isn't it? Extra, you know, it seems to be worth it. And I've also got this Turner Ranger, which is a mini base tractor, which uses lots of mini parts. Ironically, it doesn't use the handbrake cable or the dust covers, but it's got drum brakes on the front, so if I need anything brake related, I normally get a spare for this as well. I'm going to leave that video there for now. I'm really pleased I've got this done. We're another step closer to getting the car on its wheels and on the ground again. Still nowhere near finished, but it's, you know, it's progress all the same. Next job I want to do, I'll fit the rear shocks. I was going to do it in this video, but I'll do it in a separate video just because it's better for YouTube if somebody just wants to know how to do the shocks, not the brakes on the shocks. I'll do it separately, so it'll be a short video, but I'll do that next time. So thank you for watching. I hope you liked this video. If you did, press the like button. If you got any questions, drop them in the comments below. I respond to all of my comments. And please feel free to subscribe. It costs you absolutely nothing and you'll be notified of all my latest videos. So once again, thank you, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.